I'm here with David Moore. It is, you can see behind us, we've got open heaters. David is, he's made the Rec Bag Barca Lounger.
Good.
Yep. And so let's actually tell people what they might want to hear. Give me a morning update of what's been going on this morning and where we're at right now.
Well, we got a lot of people pushing through, a lot of grip strength and forearms going, pushing through, legs being chewed up from running on loose sand and all that. Man, we've got some pretty special performances taking place. Morgan McKay has been through all these rigs behind me and still looks as effortless as the first lap. We've got Austin Van Tran, and
Mark Jones was third.
Mark Jones, and then I've also seen
Josh Swanitzer still has.
Yeah,
his
Swanitzer has been cruising through these things. Again, all of them look like it's first lap. We got some BFXers up coming in.
We got some BFXers. How's it going, guys?
Loop with no carry.
Oh,
come on, you love me. I know it. I know it.
So what lap were you guys on?
1-6.
6? 5 and 6. Awesome. Keep it up. All right. So tell me a little bit about why you just got hugs. We talked about it off Periscope, but
so penalty loop number 2 has been just a mixed grab bag of penalties because the rig's constantly changing. It takes a lot out of you. We've had everything from a rec bag carry with 2 jerry cans.
That's just evil.
With 2 jerry cans, men and women. Men with their cans, women with their cans. We've had rec bag carries.
Right here.
We've had jerry can carries. We had a loop where we filled the women's cans with wet sand, and then the men's cans with very little water, and then swap the genders. And so men came up like, oh man, women's cans will carry those all day. They got excited, then realized that they're probably heavier than the men's cans normally are. And then the women are like, no way, I'm too taxed, I can't carry men's, and literally argued like I'm not carrying the men's cans. They finally picked one up, and they're crazy light. So
they look light. I mean,
yeah, super. They're super light. Like I said, the men's ones, they're struggling to even pick them up. Ironically enough, if you can look right over here to the right, there's a picnic table in the distance. Literally, men, when we were doing that, were making a quick little loop and having to drop them at the picnic table. They couldn't even extend beyond that. So, been a little bit of mind games, been some really heavy carries, and then we've had a couple points where we've allowed people to take a free loop where they get to run around with no carry. And it's funny because a lot of them come walking around the corner, they're feeling heavy, and then we tell them carry or run with no carry, and they light up, and instead of walking, they instantly turn into jog mode and go around. So it's been cool to see the demeanor. Everybody's really appreciated.
Was I the first one to hug you?
No, I've been getting hugs from everybody for it. Going down, no carry, just a jog around.
There's just a jog around?
Just a jog around.
I like you. Alright.
That's been the typical reaction. So, again, people have been so taxed with tipped spear and jerry cans and all kinds of stuff on their hands that when they get a little bit of relief here, even if it's just, 100 meter, 200 meter jog, like it's been huge for people, just kind of be lifted up.
So how many people do you think still have their wristbands and they're still in the
getting riggy with it?
Yeah.
I think we're at about 10 or so. To our knowledge, I haven't been able to reconcile the books in a while. I believe there's only one female with a band at this point.
And that's Morgan.
And I believe it's Morgan. And the amazing part about it is we all said that we thought there would be no way that someone could make 24 hours. And now not only do we think that it's possible, but we're feeling like it's very likely that Morgan's going to make it 24 hours through the rigs.
Oh, here we go. Look, we've got some more.
Loop with no carry.
What loop are we on, guys?
10.
6.
Yeah, so even in the guys, we've got a handful of guys who still have bands, and the scary part is they all look fresh going through this. Like, no struggles, no second opportunities or second tries. like literally threw on the first one. And so it's going to be really interesting to see not just the mileage that's put up, but these last few hours, like, you know, if these guys are going to get through 24 hours of rigs, which I don't think any of us would have guessed that anybody would make it 24 hours through the rigs, which is just insane.
So I've got a question about mileage. Well, I'm asking a question, not one on the scope here. But do you think now, I know we talked about this before the race started, and Ryan was pretty adamant that he didn't think anybody would hit 100 miles. But as we've seen, Austin is...
And Van Tren's very shortly behind him. He's
Yeah.
like 2-3 minutes behind him.
Still, both those guys have been super fresh with like 7.5 hours ago last time I talked to Austin, and
Yep.
he was on lap 14. So do you think that we're going to get close to that 100?
I think it's.
Possibly break it?
I think we're going to get close. I don't think we're going to break it still. I think we're probably going to end up 90, 95. Loop, no carry.
What loop are you on?
Oh, I'm only on number 4.
Okay.
I had pulled growing muscles. I had my lat give out. So yeah.
They're still out here.
But hey, without penalties, I might go for 6.
So David, will you? Somebody just said, "Are burpees penalties?" Well, burpees aren't the penalties here, but can you explain the penalties here?
Okay, so we pretty much got one of two options. It's either a mandatory obstacle or it's an obstacle with a penalty loop. So no 8-count bodybuilders.
The 8-count bodybuilders
Yeah,
look
you can
similar
see these
to a
guys.
burpee, but they actually are a little bit different. Here will
little,
be
little bit of added movement.
yeah.
The big thing is with penalties. Look, I know the kind of one of the things in OCR is, you know, burpees and that. One of the difficult things I think about that in our sport is the fact that it's difficult to judge proper form, and you've got to have volunteers counting to make sure the counts are right and all that. And so we kind of decided to eliminate that portion, create penalty loops. It's either we've got a couple long crawls, we've got some jerry cans, we've got 2 obstacles. You go through part of the kids course. So we've got a very wide range of penalties. So nothing that, again, that we have to gauge form or we have to dedicate a volunteer to count, you know, to make an accurate, you know, penalty.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Anything else that you have seen or want to say before we close up this scope here?
No, I mean, I think, like I said, I'm super impressed by all these people. Like the guy just said, the guy's been dealing with a groin, pulled his lat, and all kinds of things. A lot of people pushing through a lot of personal, you know, I don't want to say injuries, but, you know, personal struggles, and it's been awesome. Everybody out here has had an amazing attitude. We haven't run into one person who's, you know, been grumpy or upset. Everybody's just having a great time still, which is what I always see at the spirit of BFX is in general, whether it's 24 hours, whether it's 6 hours. It's a very tight-knit community, group of people out on the course, and again, it's just been cool to see that kind of extend from 6 hours to 24 hours and kind of feel that same vibe and everything. So.
Hey, what's your name?
Huh?
What's your name?
I don't know right now. Benny.
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 Awesome. Well, Benny, great job.
I just came from Orlando, but I was originally born and raised in Miami, Florida.
Awesome. So it's a
I'll be doing the Battle Frog in Orlando in December.
Yep.
Yeah. You guys know there's going to be another championship?
Yes. Won't be in Orlando though.
It won't be in Orlando?
Ooh. I don't want to break the news on here.
Yeah, we're not going to break that news. All right, guys, have a good one.
So, will you tell me what is with the obstacles? What's the like, other than the rigs? Are there any obstacles that, like, what do you think is the hardest obstacles here?
You know, ironically enough, we've been kind of asking people what's kicking their blood out there, and a lot of people are saying inverted wall and ramp wall, just from all the pulling motion that these guys are doing, especially when it's been kind of thin on the course in the middle of the night where you might not have that person to give a boost. We're hearing a lot of people say that the inverted wall and the ramp wall, which again I don't think we expected, you know, to hear. Those are pretty generic, you know, obstacles that you find out a lot. You don't necessarily think are that difficult because, you know, a lot of the races have them. But that's been the 2 biggest ones that people have been saying that they've been struggling with is that, and partially because they're both mandatory. There's not a penalty loop for either. So.
Have you seen Jason Fanning out here, 136?
Yeah, Jason Fanning, has been around quite a bit. He's still in great spirits. He's a great guy, and it's been fun to watch him come by and be able to joke around and interact with him lap after lap.
Awesome. And somebody just asked if the rain's been a problem. Bonnie, we barely got rain. It rained for like a second, but not anything that there was even anything.
Yeah, not a puddle didn't even form.
They're actually down by the jerry can. It looked like it actually kind of rained earlier, but over here it barely sprinkled.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen any alligators? I haven't seen any alligators. Have you?
Well, it's crocodile. The crocodile pits.
Right.
Now, I haven't seen any today, but I've seen multiple ones the previous 2 days crossing from one section of the woods into the croc pit. So, all right.
Oh, we've got two. We got another
loop with no carry.
So, Austin, we got a question about Austin. We're waiting for Austin to come around. He should be on, lap 15 now, we think?
I believe so. Looks very strong still. Very good attitude. Asked him how he's doing. He's like, oh, I'm doing great. Again, cruising right through the rig still. And, I think it's going to be interesting to see if he can hit that 100-mile mark. And, there's a very realistic possibility. If he could hit the 100-mile mark, he could win, and he could dominate the Platinum Rigs for 24 hours, which that's a pretty phenomenal feat. And we're looking at Morgan, who's pretty far ahead as well. I don't think she's going to hit 100 miles, but she could hit 85, 90, win, and again, tackle the rigs for 24 hours. So there's a lot of interesting stories that's going to take place and kind of unfold the next 4 or 5 hours to see what happens.
And as we were talking about a little bit earlier, Mila is on course with her dad. They're on loop 5, is it now? They're on their 5th loop. And have you seen Melissa Mathis?
I have not seen her.
We just had a question how she was doing. But I have not seen her. It doesn't mean that she's not on course.
Right.
We've all kind of been on different, at least I've been roving sort of all day. So if we see her, we'll give you guys an update. And otherwise, I'm going to close this one up and we'll bring it back. How's Sarah doing? Sarah is moving. She's out there. Sarah's out there moving.
Yep. Yeah, she's still moving. She's struggling a little bit, but again, still seems very determined and still moving forward, one foot in front of the other. She's good though.
All right.
Loop, no carry.
And we'll end it with